Hi, I'm Krista with the Center for Systemic Healing, and I just wanted to take a moment today to share something with you that I think you're going to find pretty fascinating, a facet of this work that you may not be familiar with. So I think a lot of people have an understanding when they come to this work, the family constellation work, that that we are addressing your current day issues as having their source in your family's past. And so in working with clients, what we come to see over and over and over again is that there is a large majority of what we are carrying forward that is not ours. So that did not source from our childhood. It did not source solely from our experience with our mother, with our father. Certainly a tremendous amount of what we see that is the case. But what I want to speak to is the percentage that is not our personal experience. So when I'm working with a client, we start this level of discernment that it comes to light that, yes, this is your personal experience. That gets to be true as well. And we see this is where that came from. This is where that came from. But what we start adding up is all the layers. And that percentage of what is yours and what you are carrying is very different. So sometimes I'll work with a client and it's almost like 80% of what that client is carrying is not their own personal experience. And so, of course, this is never about taking away from that, but it's really allowing us to become in touch with there are things that we're experiencing that we don't have. There was no embodied frame of reference for that in our life. And I'm just going to use two examples from my life where this just shifted everything. So when I was young and I met my husband to be. He was one of the first dates I ever went on. And so we had a date set up, waiting for him to arrive, and he was late. And he was a little late, and then he was a little bit later. And I became hysterical. I became hysterical for no reason. I thought he had died. And of course, he showed up. But this theme of me really being almost hysterical when a beloved was not there, it became clear to me that I had an abandonment issue. The interesting thing is my parents stayed together. My parents stayed together. I did not have that kind of an upbringing in my family. I didn't have an early separation from my mother or my father, so none of that was factually present. When I came to this work, that's when I understood that trauma that came up, that anxiety that continued, it literally continued. It lived in my relationships for years. I worked with it, but nothing gave me the shift. Nothing healed that until I came to constellation work. And what I realized is that trauma, that anxiety, that insecurity was something I was carrying for my mother. My mother's brother went off to war and didn't come back and died. Her beloved went off to war. Her previous partner before my father went off to war and didn't come back. And her mother died when she was 2. So many layers of abandonment, which she actually never spoke about because we don't talk about things that traumatize us. That's normal for people, especially like a generation back. So that was like the whole world opened up for me when we were able to do that work. And then the more work I did, I discovered on my father's side, his mother was lost her mother when she was 10 years old. And then she was separated from her family for years. So there was abandonment on that side as well. And if I hadn't known that, and that doesn't seem, and that wasn't like a real theme that my soul was working with, this work brought that forward. So when you think about yourself, when you think about people you know, when you think about working with clients, this is really, really significant in helping them. You know, how are you helping them move forward unless you are addressing the larger system that they are part of? So this is something I wanted to share today. We know that we carry these themes and patterns forward, but something that we really don't realize is how much of that is not ours. And of course, the constellation work allows us to go back in a very specific way, back into a generation in which it first occurred, and transform that broken heart by honoring, by seeing, by including, by hearing what wasn't spoken, by being with what was too painful to face. And when we do that, that shifts everything. That shifts everything. It creates this domino effect. So we are relieved, because the truth is, it's not ours to carry. It is not ours to carry. And when it moves back, that brings strength. Additional from relieving us, it brings strength that allows us to move forward. So these are the kind of things that is really powerful to know if you're considering doing the work. Extraordinarily important if you're working with clients in any kind of, service, healing, creative arts. This is something that, this is just a teensy bit of what we're working with in the Immersion Learning Program. So there are still some openings for the Immersion Learning Program that's starting the beginning of September. I invite you to give me a call, read the materials, take some time, drop into your center and listen to your soul and see if this is a movement of your soul, if you are being called to participate in this 9-month journey, this 9-month birthing of your authentic self, if you will. So thank you so much for your time, and give that some thought. It's pretty amazing when we become in touch with it that way. So have a beautiful day, and let me hear from you if I can answer any questions for you. All right. Take care.